Hello and welcome to this week's edition of It's Your Call, proudly brought to you by Quit Now. This is where we have a look at the previous round of football, and in particular we pay close attention to some of the umpiring decisions from round 5. As he joins me every Tuesday afternoon, the AFL's umpiring manager, Jeff Gieshen. Welcome, Gieshen.
Good to be here, Wayne, and can't believe we're up to round 6 and quarter of the way through the season already.
Yeah, we're looking forward to that. You can contribute across the course of any round of AFL football simply by getting involved in Twitter. Pick out a decision that you'd like the Gieshen to have a chat about the following week, and all you have to do is at AFL #YourCall. It's as simple as that. Let's get stuck into it, Gieshen. It seems a hell of a long time ago. Last week's Anzac Day clash involving the Magpies and the Bombers. Great game of footy, but importantly, Dane Swan got a 50-metre free kick down the ground.
Yeah, we can see Dane Swan give the ball off, and then he gets tackled after he gives the ball off. So he gets a free kick and he gets a 50-metre penalty.
Now this, I said to you before we came on air, it's almost as if the club's got this right last year. We didn't see many of these decisions.
Yeah, it probably hit its peak about 4 or 5 seasons ago, and that's why the rule was brought in. The terrific midfielders were trying to get involved in the next act of play, and they're being stopped from doing that.
Here's another one very similar.
Yes, and we can see McVeigh give the ball off, go to run on, and again he gets tackled and held when he goes to the next act of play. So again, a 50-metre penalty and a free kick.
All right, now I want to get you, there's a subtle difference here, very similar incidents, but why did Jared McVeigh get to take his kick and Dane Swan had to give it off to Alex Fasolo?
Well, that's a really good question and a very good pick-up, Wayne, because with the Swan one, when he got tackled, the ball had gone forward to a teammate. So had it gone back to Swan and then 50 metres, he would have been disadvantaged. The fact that he actually, his teammate had the ball forward of the play meant that player could then take the 50. However, with McVeigh, by the time he was grabbed and by the time the umpire worked out it was his free kick, he'd actually moved past the player with the ball. So McVeigh was in the better position. He takes the 50.
There you go. That's what you get from the umpire's manager, Jeff Gieshen. You put the decisions forward and you get an outstanding explanation. Let's look at the next one. This is the hot topic this week, and it's involving taggers, and it spins off the back of Ryan Crowley's job that he did on Chris Judd on Friday night at Perth.
Yeah, and look, by and large, Crowley did a terrific job, but quite clearly during the game there was a couple of times we missed free kicks to Chris Judd, but this can happen any week. We can see a clear hold of the arm there. I think we're on the record as saying the taggers are very subtle at the moment. They're grabbing low down on the shorts, they're grabbing wrists, they're being very cunning with the way they're doing it. And we just noticed the last couple of weeks in particular, the tagger has been taking more liberties, and we just need to make sure that we're very vigilant in that area.
Is it becoming more of an issue because people pay their money to go and watch the great players, and a forward, if he gets his arm chopped or jumper held, it's a free kick, yet you see this type of behaviour every single stoppage around the ground across the country every weekend?
Yeah, look, the bottom line is we just got to protect the ball player, whether that's the forward or whether that's the back. So whichever play is being infringed, they should be protected.
Well, 50-metre penalties also seem to be flavour of round 5. Let's have another one. This is in showdown number 32.
Yeah, and we just want to talk about this one to show that, look, it looks very harsh. You look at the time on the clock, you look at the scores, it's a tight showdown game, but we can see Walker mark the ball. His opponent's not in the contest, keeps going, and in actual fact, he probably crosses the mark by maybe 7 to 8 metres. That's clearly running over the mark. We can see the spot, he keeps going, and that's clearly running over the mark. He could have pulled up well before there, so really pleased that the umpire paid a 50-metre penalty.
I think it was the right call in the end, but what about the noise? You could hear the noise coming through in the audio in the background watching that bit of vision. Is that any sort of defence from a player's point of view?
No, it's not really, because we actually said when we went around and did the DVD, the players know where his opponent has marked the ball or got the free kick. It's up to the player who's defending to know where that spot is and pull up and stop at that spot. So there's no tolerance in that regard.
All right, you can get involved in Twitter. You see a decision you'd like explained by the umpire's manager, Jeff Gieshen. All you have to do is get involved via Twitter at AFL #YourCall. And this is the first one, comes from Grant H at Backflip, and it involves a sling tackle. Great game of football from your old club, Richmond, on the weekend against the Eagles.
Yeah, look, this is a very good question from our Twitter caller there. What we actually see happen is Jack Riewoldt takes the ball. He gets tackled by Schofield, and the umpire holds his whistle for a long time. Jack's trying to dispose of the ball. Schofield's got the ball sort of locked in there. The whistle goes as Schofield throws Rewalt to the ground. We don't think it's a real dump or an extra sling where he drives him into the ground. We basically think that, he's waited for the whistle. The whistle hasn't gone. He's gone through with the tackle, and we're comfortable that no free kick should have been paid. We thought it was very harsh at that stage against Schofield.
Still seeing a lot of players prepared to execute a sling tackle. They're not that far away from a good tackle and something that actually results in somebody getting injured.
Yeah, and look, it's a very fine line, Wayne. It's when they make that extra effort to pitch the player into the ground head first or with a lot of force or with a secondary action. But with that one there, we didn't think there was a secondary action. We didn't think there was an overly big amount of force. So would have preferred the umpire come in and manage it and ball the ball up.
All right, the fifth decision is once again from one of our Twitter followers. This one's from Matt, involving Brisbane and Geelong at a water-soaked Gabba.
Yeah, this is a really good call by Matt, very observant. We actually had an example of this on the DVD a couple of years ago where Scott Selwood of the West Coast Eagles threw an opponent's boot away, but he didn't throw it away. He pitched it about 35, 40 metres. With this one here, we see Redden bend down and just toss it behind him. And I think because it was going to be a stoppage, he just wanted to clear the area of any debris or any hazards in the way. So I don't think he was trying to be a smart aleck. I don't think it was misconduct. I think he was just trying to clear the boot away. So in that case, we'd have liked the umpire just to let that go, realise that the player wasn't being, using misconduct or being a smart aleck. He's just trying to clear the area.
Rookie, the mistake for Jack Redden there. That boot should have belonged somewhere over the fence. There should have been a little bit of smart aleck sort of attitude about that. I can tell you where I would have put it, Jeff, and that would have been way over the fence. Final decision. This is the one that I picked up. I was there watching the game. Kangaroos taking on the Gold Coast. I want to get your thoughts on this, and then I'll give you mine, Gish.
Well, at first it looks really confusing because we assume that Michael Ferrito's the backman there, but he's actually the forward. So we'll see it in a minute. He takes the mark, and then he wanders forward of his mark.
He's gone.
Then he goes. So once he goes, he hasn't had a prior now, but the umpire will give him a chance to go to ground, then try and get rid of the ball. But we see him actually propel the ball up. So he goes now.
Yep.
Tackled. The umpire will let him go to ground because it's dangerous if he tries to do something midair, but then he actually propels the ball up in a throwing type motion. So should have been penalised for incorrect disposal.
But you can't, once you tackle him, if you're on the ground, you can't just put the ball on the ground, leave it there and then tap it out, can you?
Yeah, no, our belief was that it got knocked out in the tackle. When he got thrown to the ground, the ball spilled out, then he actually propelled the ball up. So, incorrect disposal.
You sure about that decision?
I'm sure. We had a heated debate off screen, Wayne, but no, we're sure of that decision.
Well, appreciate it. Great explanations again. We're about done for this Tuesday afternoon. Round 6 is a big one to look forward to. Gish, Ray Chamberlain, how far away is Razor Ray? Because I'll tell you what, he is somebody that polarises people, but we miss the characters, including Ray.
Yeah, we miss Ray too. He's obviously one of our better umpires. He's got a pretty serious knee injury. He's missed the first 5 games, obviously. He started to ramp up his training, but he's still a fair way off. I wouldn't like to put a time on it, but I don't think we'll see him probably at AFL level until about the halfway mark of the year.
Well, we wish him a speedy recovery. Just before we go, though, there's this perception in the AFL community that there seems to be a hot topic that you come down from your ivory tower, talk to Rowan Saws and the coaches, including Hayden Kennedy, and say, this is the issue we want to concentrate on. Here's your opportunity, yes or no?
Well, no doubt every week we see things out of games. We discuss those, but more often the hot topic comes from either a coach, e.g. Buckley, the score review system, or Clarkson, players ducking their heads, or it comes from the media where they might pick something up as well. From our perspective, we've just got to try and be across everything before they become a major issue. This week, taggers have been thrown up. I think we saw some really heavy tags this week. We think the taggers are taking a few liberties. We need to be very vigilant, watch closely, make sure the ball player is not being infringed in that situation.
There's a message to all the taggers out there. Start to play it a bit fairer because Jeff and his merry men are all over you this weekend. We appreciate you coming in.
Thanks, Wayne.
And we appreciate your contributions. You can get involved, pick out any decision from round 6. Send it to Twitter at AFL, #YourCall, and we will pick out the 2 best or 2 that we would like to discuss on your behalf. Have a great weekend. Good luck to your team in round 6. And this is It's Your Call from round 5, signing off. Proudly brought to you by our good friends at Quit Now. See you next week.
Bye, mate.